Hi everyone, welcome back to PrettyWell. Dr. Angela here with you. So it's the holidays, and the holidays can be a really wonderful time, and they can also be a really difficult time. Dr. Patty made us a really wonderful video last week of just some practices that we can do to stay healthy during the holiday season, and so I'll link that video to this one if you guys missed it last week. But in addition to, keeping our physical bodies healthy, sometimes there are circumstances that make the holiday season really difficult. So we can certainly have stress and anxiety due to all of the extra expectations on our time, on our physical energy, on our finances. That can be intense in and of itself, even if we're having a wonderful holiday season. But we can also have other things happen that lead to loneliness or grief or depression. We can have things like separation, divorces happen. We can have really difficult family fractures with, loved ones where we just can't see eye to eye, and there's very painful distress happening in our interrelating with one another, and the holidays can be an extra reminder of that. We can have really intense physical health ailments occur, a new diagnosis that we're still trying to come to terms with, figure out what to do. We might have just lost someone we love who's really dear to us. And so having all of those circumstances occur during the holidays can be very difficult. And it's really useful if we have some good tools, some good practices in place to take extra good care of ourselves if it's a particularly difficult holiday season. So I know we talk about these things all the time, but it can be really difficult to keep sight of basic self-care practices during really stressful times. And so I'll put these all in the description box as usual, but really making sure that we maintain our normal routines of having nutritious food, getting adequate sleep, having some gentle, regular movement, exercise. Those things are all gonna help keep our neurochemistry in a better place so that we can handle all of the extra difficult things that might be going on. But in addition, it's really important that we also allow ourselves space, psychic space to decompress, reflect a little bit more and process, and really check in with ourselves and stay present with ourselves. Some of us have regular meditation practices or regular journaling practices where we, kind of have built in the time to tune in and see what's going on. Some of us don't have those practices in place. And so it can be a really helpful thing to integrate time in your daily routine to allow a check-in. It doesn't have to be for very long, but just to figure out what your needs are that day. In addition to, a structured time, just, maybe a few times throughout the day, just as you have a pause to just kind of feel what's going on in your body, and to really give yourself permission, if it's a difficult holiday season, to change your mind. So, we might have agreed to many commitments, but if really difficult things are going on, that we give ourselves permission to say no, to change our mind at the last moment if we truly need something different. Your friends and loved ones will understand. Now, sometimes if we isolate during painful times, it can make it more difficult. We can feel more lonely and isolated, but it can also be difficult if we're spending time with people who we don't feel really close to or really connected to. And so finding the balance of figuring out if we need alone time, when we need alone time. But if you're feeling really bad, also perhaps considering reaching out to someone you love and care about and you're close to, who you feel safe processing with, and having them come over and sit with you while you need to cry or take a walk together. Have them listen and hold space as you think through what's going on and share what your heart feels like it needs to share. Moving through the isolation can be really helpful. If you don't have people in your life who are really close to you, who you feel comfortable sharing with, reaching for professional help of all kinds. Some of us have established relationships with psychotherapists and psychiatrists. Some of us don't, and there are some really good hotlines we can reach out to. And so I will put some good resources in the description box as well if those things would be useful for some of you guys. Thinking about lots of ways where we can have gentle, soothing practices for our nervous system. Heat is really soothing for many of us during the winter, and so things like making ourselves a hot cup of tea, taking hot baths. If you own a sauna, using a sauna, they do have saunas that we can rent by the hour. Many gyms have saunas. Many of the spas have different types of infrared saunas. So ways of keeping ourselves cozy and comfy and warm, heating bottles, heating pads, those things can all be very soothing and comforting while we rest. Again, gentle exercise can be really helpful for many of us. So, long walks outside in nature. Trying to get out earlier in the day can be really useful because some of us, in addition to the situational circumstances that are bringing on depression, also struggle with seasonal affective disorder, where because of the decreased light in the wintertime, we can also feel especially sad. I did do a video last season on seasonal affective disorder, and I'll link it as well so you can take a look at that if that's something you're struggling with as well. But so just trying to remember, sunshine is really good for us. Getting outside and getting outside earlier in the day can be something that really helps lift our mood chemicals. There are definitely some wonderful supplements we can take to help with depression. Essential fatty acids are very helpful. Amino acids and proteins are very helpful. Staying hydrated is always good for our brain health as well. So I'll put those reminders in the description box, and we'll also link other videos that Dr. Patty and I have done for you guys on related topics of anxiety and depression to give you more in-depth ideas on the supplements, but those are some biochemical things we can do to take care of ourselves. A really good friend of mine had a really tragic personal loss several years back. She lost her brother, and while she endured going through that, she thought about what she would have wanted and what would have been comforting for her at her time of loss. And so she founded a company with another friend who also had endured a loss to basically offer comforting, soothing little gifts that we can offer one another. So we can buy something like this for ourselves, and or we could send this to a loved one if they're having a particularly hard time. Their company is called Good Grief, and I'll put the link in the description box. But essentially lots of things that can help our senses. So I was saying the hot tea, she put together a tea formula in here. She chose a tea formula that is made up of different types of nervine botanicals. Dr. Patty was talking to us about nervine botanicals in her last video. They also put together a book of uplifting inspirational sayings. So a lot of times reading poetry or reading different quotes from people that offer us strength and are inspiring during very hard times can be helpful. They also added mandalas in this book, so places to color, because coloring can be almost like a meditative state for many of us, and really help the nervous system relax. And so some nice color. They offered some essential oil inhalers. So Dr. Patty and I have also talked about different ways that essential oils can really shift mood, but so sometimes having really convenient things like this that can live inside of our handbags that we can reach for in a pinch if we're having a hard time can really help us. Some botanical sprays that use herbs that are soothing to our nervous system, some homeopathics. They included some nice bath salts to help the nervous system during a warm bath. And so there's so many wonderful ideas like this on the market. This is one that I think is great, and so I will put that link in there in case it's useful for you, or you know someone who's going through a hard time who might like a good grief basket during this holiday season, or if you yourself would like one. For those of you who are going through a hard time this holiday season, who have gone through hard times during other holiday seasons, please share with us here in the community what's been particularly helpful for you, what you wished might have been done, what you learned during a hard time that was very beneficial for you and that you'd like to share with others so that they might benefit from your wisdom, and that we can all help each other heal and grow together and suffer less. So those are my thoughts for you this week on getting through the holidays with a heart that's a little bit happier, even if it's a very difficult time. Wishing you peace, sending you all love. Thank you so much for being here with us on a regular basis in the community. Take wonderful care. Share this with a friend. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already and you want to hear from us regularly. Keep letting us know what you want to learn about, and we'll find you here next week. Thanks so much. Take wonderful care, everyone.